Wait, let me just, great. Okay, so today's session is for 1 hour, and the session is divided into two programs. There's a Cfa Program Introduction, which will be conducted by Florence, and then for your career guidance sessions, we have 4 August and very seasoned professionals available to first to give you an introduction and then to take your question and answers. Students are requested to keep their videos turned off for the session and stay muted. You can ask the questions on the chat box, and your questions will be taken at the end of the session. The recording will be available on our website after the session, maybe by the end of the day. To begin with the beginning, let me allow me to give you a brief introduction of the CFA Institute. CFA Institute is a global not-for-profit organization, and it is the world's largest association of investment management professionals. Who are investment management professionals? Soon our August panel will let you know and introduce you. The CFA Institute is based out of US, and it works throughout the globe through societies, and there are more than 150 societies around the world. And you can see by these blue circles that where the most of the societies are present in the country, in the world. In Pakistan, Cfa Society Pakistan is based out of Karachi. It has offices in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad. Just a brief understanding of what the global community of CFA charter holder looks like. There are 170,000 CFA charter holders across the globe. 150 societies are connected with each other to provide networking opportunities and understanding of the global markets. There's 600 affiliated universities who map the curriculum of a CFA in their finance programs. CFA Society Pakistan was established in 2002 with 39 members. It is run by a voluntary board of 7 people. And then there's, of course, I'm the executive director, and there are a few other staff members who are present. CFA Society, through its journey of 18 years, has done a lot. And we have won various accolades and awards when competing with all the other 150 societies. So we have the Volunteer of the Year Award, we have the Lifetime Volunteer Awards, we have the Most Innovative Society Initiative Award, we have the Most Membership Retention Award, and so on and so forth. And I can't give you all the briefing, but the idea is that once you become a CFA charter holder, after giving your exams and your work experience, you can become a part of the CSA Society membership body. And there's a lot that we do for our members and for okay, so what we do comprises a lot of our objectives, but one of the main objectives is to deliver member value once you become part of our community, but also to develop future professionals. And today's initiative is one of our moves to help develop future professionals. So some of the academic events that we do includes CFA Institute Research Challenge. If you have not heard about it, I would strongly recommend you to connect on our social media with us. There's also a CFA Pakistan Ethics Challenge, in which this was happened for the first time in Pakistan, and Pakistan's university team won the regional finals. And we do a lot of other guest speaker sessions and career sessions that you are going through today. Now I would request Florence, please, to take over and give us the updates on the CFA program.
Sure. Thank you. I will share my screen. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Florence, and I work for the CFA Institute, and I'm based in Hong Kong. As you can see from these first slides, I will be really brief to share with you an overview of the CFA program, the new exam delivery, and the resources for our candidates and students. As mentioned, the CFA Institute is a global nonprofit organization with over 170,000 members across 150 countries. The CFA designation provides a global network and is a global passport that opens doors around the world. Our mission is to lead the investment professions globally by promoting the highest standards of ethics, education, and professional excellence for the ultimate benefit of society. And it is actually reflected in our curriculum with the broad and deep coverage of professional knowledge and CFA ethics and standards. I'm not going to go through the curriculum with you today, and you can easily find explore all this information from our website. The only key thing I would like to emphasize is that the CFA program is developed by practitioners and is updated regularly to ensure relevance and keep up with trends in the industry. The program enjoys exceptionally high satisfaction feedback from candidates about how much they learned and how relevant that is to their work. And I'm sure you will agree with me, especially after the career session with our industry professionals. To earn the CFA Charter, you need to pass all 3 levels of the exams with 3 years of professional experience. You have to have a bachelor degree or at your final year in university to be eligible to register for the exam. So if you are a final year student, you can consider register for the level 1 exam in May next year, because the February exam settings is already closed. This is a very recent quote from Financial Times, and I'll just show a few seconds for everyone to read it. Okay, I will now share with you some key updates of the CFA exam delivery coming up next year. With the new normal and to improve candidates' experience, all levels of the CFA exam will shift from paper-based testings to computer-based testing starting in 2021. These changes will provide smaller group sizes, better social distancing, and easier scheduling for our candidates. With the move to CBT exam, the computer-based exam next year for all levels, the December 2020 administration will be the final paper-based testing for all the exams. Here are some key facts of the 2021 computer-based exams. The level 1 computer-based exam will be offered 4 times per year in February, May, August, and November, while the level 2 and level 3 computer-based exam will be offered 2 times per year. Exams will be offered in scheduling windows of up to 10 days rather than on a single day. So 2021 is the first year that we run the CBT, and the exam administration in 2022 will set the standard of the CFA exam sequence. So starting from 2022, level 1 will be offered 4 times per year, February, May, August, and November, and level 2 will be February and August, and level 3 will be in May and November. So what are the differences of the paper-based and computer-based exam? Instead of a global exam on the same date globally, the CBT exams allow candidates to schedule their exam within a 7 to 2 days windows in over 400 test centers. The exam length will drop from 2 3-hour sessions, altogether 6 hours, to 4.5 hours for the 2 sections. As a result of the shorter time, the computer-based exam will consist of fewer questions, but we still make sure that there are no impact on the ability to determine who has demonstrated the required competency to pass the CFA exam. A rough schedule of the exam would be 135 minutes for each section. There will be 30 minutes in the beginning for the candidates to familiar with the settings, and there will be a 30 minutes breaks in between. So you will agree with me, the change to computer-based testings really provide more flexibility and also more convenient experience to our candidates. Here, you can have an overview of the exam delivery schedule. Since most of your students, you can see level 1 as an example. There will be 4 exam sets offering next year for level 1 in February, May, August, and November, and with the relevant registration deadline and exam windows as shown. As mentioned, the February exam is already closed for registration, but you can still consider for the other 3 exams in the coming year. There will be more than 400 locations globally, and then the exam fees would be $1,000 for standard registration, and then $700 for early bird registration. For everyone who register for the exam for the first time, it will also involve an enrollment fees of $450. Now I'm going to share with you the support and resources we offered for our candidates. First is scholarships. The CFA Institute offers scholarships in different categories, and the below 3 would be more relevant to you, or 4. Okay, student scholarship. So student scholarships is available to students globally that enrolled in an affiliated university. and they are not yet registered for the exam. So the principal contact person of the universities, mostly their professors, has the sole discretion in allocating the scholarships. It could be depends on your GPA or your interview performance, etc. For SS scholarship, it is designed to support individuals with financial needs, and it is operated by the local society. And the last one is the women's scholarship, who is obviously for women who are interested to get the destination. And last but not the least is the professor scholarships who offer to students, to university professors in the universities. So one important reminder is that you can only apply and being awarded scholarships if you have not yet registered for the exam. All scholarship will waive the enrollment fees of 450, and then students and women and professor scholarships reduce the fees to, sorry, I have some technical issue. Let me go back. Okay, we reduce the fees to US 350, and then SS scholarship will reduce the fee to 250. Okay. Even after you register and pay for the exam, we will not leave you alone. We ensure every candidate enjoy their learning experience. So the learning ecosystem is a customized online learning program that makes study engaging, effective, and efficient. The course of study is broken down into lessons that are easy to understand, and a progress checker and study planner will provide students or candidates a personalized learning path according to your strengths and weaknesses. Practice questions, mock exams, and games to help students stay motivated, and you don't need to waste any time looking for extra materials and tools. Content is available on demand and on any device, all in one place. So basically, the learning ecosystem is to help our candidates to learn better on their own. Besides candidates, we also provide resources to students. So the recently launched a new career center is a section devoted entirely to students, which is called Career Planning for Students. Using our global network, we are sharing knowledge of careers in finance and investment to help students to bridge the gap between university and the working world. Okay, I guess this is basically my overview of the program and the resources. If you still want more information, you can always visit the CFA Institute website. If you are not sure if you're ready to take the CFA exam, we encourage you to scan this QR code so you can do an interactive assessment to find out if you get ready already. And to stay tuned, for always follow us and the society on social media to keep up to date of the program information. Okay, that's the end of my presentation, and you can always send your inquiries to this email address, and we'll have Q&A session at the end of the session. You can you feel free to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Florence, for that. I'm just going to see if I can share my screen, and then we will step into the next part of the presentation. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for.
Raza, you're breaking up. Do you have any other connection?
This is what I have for now. I'll see if I can make the best of it. But if it's too much of an issue, then you can just give me another alert.
So no, we can't hear you. So we'll just request your patience for a minute while Raza is trying to connect back with us. Tahir, I'd suggest that maybe you could start with your presentation. You could just
Sure.
run through initial slides because I think you know what's going on. So you could just run through the initial slides and uh,
Server, can you please confirm whether you can see my slides?
yeah, yeah, you can see your slides.
So just in case I'm sort of back, I apologize for that. If
No,
you
you're
like,
good now.
I'm
Yeah,
good. Can I
yeah,
go
you
back
can,
to
yeah, you
can we
can
go back to
restart.
the original? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I apologize. I've changed the connection.
yeah. Okay, thank you, Tahir.
I
Over to
apologize.
you, back to Raza.
No
Okay,
problem.
okay. Sorry for that. So look, this section we're going to talk about, obviously the careers that are available to CFA charter holders and those that are in the CFA program. So very quickly, I mean, obviously, as Florence has talked about and as Sarvat mentioned, this is considered the gold standard in terms of finance accreditations. And so the typical jobs that are available to a CFA charter holder would be portfolio management, research, consulting, investment strategy, risk analysis, and where you can deploy some of those skills would be asset management. Obviously, it's not an exhaustive list, but of course, asset management, private wealth management, commercial and investment banking, insurance. We haven't mentioned it here, but brokerage as well. The idea is for us to talk about a few of those functions, in the rest of this presentation. Right. I mean, I think Florence went over this briefly. I'll just add what the CFA Society Pakistan does, right? So these slides have what the CFA Institute does for you. What the CFA Society Pakistan can do for you is, if once you're a member, you're obviously part of our network. And what we do is that we share, relevant jobs. So we have a function called Jobline that the email for relevant jobs goes out to all our members. We do also have career advice sessions for university students in collaboration with universities. We, of course, offer networking opportunities. So you will be interacting with, if you are part of the society, you will get to interact with a lot of people who can potentially be your future bosses, right? So if you interact with them on a local level or at the global level, it could lead to more job opportunities. And finally, we're also having in the next year or so, we're also planning to have our senior members give mentoring to young professionals. So that is all something that's happening or is in the pipeline. Now, to the interesting part of the presentation. Like I mentioned, I work for a brokerage firm. So what is it that a stock brokerage firm does, right? So this is also known as the sell side for those who might have dabbled in the markets before. This one, obviously, what a broker does is that a broker will carry out buying and selling of securities or stocks on behalf of clients, right? So some of our clients can be mutual funds, they can be insurance companies, they can be individuals. And how a brokerage firm makes money is that they charge a commission on each transaction. A full service brokerage firm will provide value added services such as research, corporate access, which means that we will arrange meetings with the companies that you might want to invest in. We will also give investment banking services. For those who aren't familiar with what a brokerage firm is or what a sell side firm is, maybe a few names will help familiarize you with prominent brokers. So on the global level, firms such as Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, UBS, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch are some examples of full service brokerage firms. And on the local side, some of the names that you might have heard of are JS, Equities Securities, RF Habib Limited, PMA Capital. I mentioned at the start, I work for a brokerage firm as well in my day job. So that is Intermarket Securities. The main functions within a local brokerage firm would be research, sales and trading, and investment banking. These are probably the ones that you will be more interested in as finance professionals. And I'm going to just talk about the research function in today's presentation from a sell side perspective, right? So some of the skills that you will need if you want to work in research for a brokerage firm would be financial modeling first up, and primarily on Microsoft Excel. The second thing that you will need to do is business writing, because obviously once you make a model, you will need to write a report on the companies or sectors in your coverage. Then you will have to pick up the phone and obviously talk to your clients to convey your ideas. And you will have to have the ability to work both independently and as part of a team. And if you're a research analyst working with a brokerage firm, you will typically be assigned certain sectors such as banks or oil and gas, fertilizer or cements, and you will be expected to become an expert in these sectors, so you can communicate the right investment advice pertaining to these sectors to your clients. Now, I've already mentioned the sort of sort of skill set you need, right? Financial modeling and good report writing skills. And with that skill set, you have a very transferable sort of skill set that you can take both locally and globally and across departments. So you can move into other departments within a brokerage firm, or you can move into other companies as well. For instance, you can, if you're a good analyst and you catch the eye of the companies that you cover, it is quite possible that the company will like you and give you a job, right? So Engro Corporation, for instance, is an example of a firm that in the past has historically offered jobs to the analysts that have covered it. So if that is your cup of tea, you can move or transfer your skills to the corporate sector. The second thing is hours. And sell side analysts will typically work about 10 hours per day, 5 days a week. But work hours can, of course, be longer when deadlines are near or when the corporate earnings season is in full swing. So it is not unusual to work weekends if required, but typically 5 days a week. Will you get to travel? Yes, locally, of course. You will get to travel. For instance, if you are covering the oil and gas sector, a lot of our companies are based in Islamabad, so you will need to travel there. If you want to cover maybe the textile companies or the cement companies, a lot of them are based out of Lahore. So if you're working out of Karachi, you will end up traveling there. It is pertinent to mention that most of the sell side or the brokerage jobs that are available in Pakistan are located in Karachi, right? So that is something to keep in mind. But obviously there are firms that are available in Islamabad and Lahore, but mostly the firms are in Karachi. The fourth thing is pay. I think a lot of people will be interested in this. On the sell side, typically we start analysts off in the 40 to 60,000 per month range, but growth is very swift. I think in the first 2 to 3 years, you can reasonably expect to be earning within the six-digit salary. So growth is very quick, at least in the initial years. And finally, I mean, one thing that I think can stand out relative to other professions is that you become very well known because when you write a research report, your name goes out on that research report. So it's a fantastic way to develop your own personal brand. And that can take you places, right? So, and the other thing is that at a very young stage in your career, you will be interacting with the CEOs, chief financial officers of listed companies. So that will also help you to sort of get into the limelight. So that is something that I think, if you're confident in your skills and you're confident in your calls and in your work, that can, really catapult your career progression. And finally, the slide that I have for you in the last section of the research analyst for a sell side firm, what does a typical day look like? So first up, you need to come in early. The stock market starts at 9:30. So you need to come in at 8 or 8:15 and you need to cover the day's news. You need to go over the newspapers and see what is the relevant news that can affect the day's trading today. And then obviously analyze that news and give your considered opinion as an analyst, whose sector or stock might be impacted. And when I say 8 a.m., that's still fairly, late if you compare to the global benchmark. I have friends working in the UK and US in similar jobs who have to come in at 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning. So 8 a.m., don't be put off by 8 a.m. It's still fairly early from a global perspective. Obviously, you will discuss the day's news in the morning meeting with the sales team, and then you will be presenting your ideas across to the sales team. And then you will be working, obviously, once the morning meeting is over, you will work on your day-to-day work, which is you might be working on a report. It might be a short report that needs to go out the same day, or it might be a detailed report that maybe needs to go out next week. But you need to, anything that is needed to get that report up and running and completed, whether it means financial model or writing it or getting it edited or putting charts up, that is what you will be doing. Your day, of course, will be interspersed with queries from clients, as we will see in the next sections that Tahir will take over in the next section. That, for instance, he will be a client for a brokerage firm, so he can call up a brokerage firm and ask questions or ask for data. So that is also something that a research analyst has to handle. And I've mentioned before that typically 5 days a week and 10 hours a day, but you will be more busy during the corporate's earnings season. So when companies are announcing the results, you will obviously have to update your financial models very quickly and give out updated estimates and target prices to your clients so that they can make the best available decision in a timely fashion. So that is what a typical day looks like. Rest assured, you will not be bored. Every day is different. It's very exciting. And I encourage all of you to seriously consider pursuing this as a career. Tahir, with that, that's the end of my section. I'm going to stop the screen share and hand it over to you.
Thank you, Raza. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Raza. Raza has covered quite extensively the life at the sell side, and you know, it's not much different at the buy side. The only difference, primarily the difference is on the buy side, you work for yourself to assist fund managers in your own company. Whereas on the sell side, you work for clients, you work for fund managers, you work for asset management companies, for pension funds, for hedge funds, for individuals, for high net worth individuals. But on the buy side, you work for the fund managers primarily. Things have changed over time. If I talk about, let's say 5-10 years ago, the reliance on the sell side was much more as compared to now. Because most of the asset management companies or buy side companies, they try to develop their own research so that they can do quick analysis and make calls in a timely manner. So the difference between the buy side and the sell side, I'm sure it's clear in your mind. Front end and back end departments. So sales, business development, fund management, and research departments are considered as the front office in the buy side firms, whereas operations, finance, human resource, compliance, and risk management, these departments are considered as back end departments. But rest assured, research is a support function. Whether you're on the buy side or on the sell side, it's a support function. On the sell side, it's a support function to the sales team as well as to your clients. Whereas on the buy side, it's a support function primarily to the fund management team on the equity side, on the fixed income side, as well as towards the SMA team. The typical day is similar as on the sell side. You have to come early. You have to read newspapers, do quick analysis on the daily news, update the fund manager about your analysis, about the possible impact of the news on the companies you cover. If I talk about pay scale, it ranges from 35,000 to 60,000 depending upon on the candidate. With regards to working hours, I slightly differ with Raza on this. I personally feel and experience there are typically no working hours, to be honest, and you have to be on your toes all the time. If something happens in US or in the global markets, even at your bedtime, you have to read, and at times you have to wake up and write a report if you're on the sell side. Sell side is a bit challenging as compared to buy side, because on the sell side, you have to build a financial model, you have to do analysis on the news, you have to write a report well on time. If you are lagging behind and someone else issue a report before you, then your report is just a piece of paper. So that's more competitive. While on the buy side, you will be judged on the value addition that a fund manager will earn on your calls. How you will help a fund manager to make alpha. That's your prime job. Well, Raza has already explained sell-side firms, top-line securities, Intermarket, BMA, RFB, Optimus. These are the few big names. I would suggest all of you who are looking forward to pursue their careers. Uh, Initially, try to get into the brokerage firm where you can learn a lot. In first couple of years, try to focus on your learning rather than earning. Trust me, it will pay back. As Raza has mentioned, it's very normal in this industry to earn in 6-digit salary within like 2 to 3 years. It's not a big deal if you are really smart. On the buy side, a few big names are Al Mizan Investments, NBP Funds, UBL Funds, MCB, RFB, ABL Asset Management, Alpha GHP, Laxon. So majority of the firms, either on the buy side or on the sell side, they're based out of Karachi. And trust me, I worked in Karachi. There is no comparison of exposure, learning while being in Karachi. You cannot match that exposure while being in Lahore or in Islamabad. So if you get a chance, do go
I
to
just like
Karachi.
to I just like to interrupt for a time check.
Uh, that's my last slide, Sarvat. So one last thing that I would like to highlight here is to all the candidates, do read newspaper on daily basis. Try to make understanding of economy, of numbers before hitting the job market, because as interviewer, I would expect candidates to have basic understanding of economy, of numbers, and yes, of Excel. So before hitting the market, try to uh, have basic understanding of economy and all these numbers. Thank you. Mustafa, you can start sharing your screen.
Mustafa, you're on mute.
Okay, so I hope everybody can see my screen now. So I'm Mustafa Pasha. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at Laxon Investments. Laxon Investments is an asset management and an investment advisory firm. Tahir and Raza have already sort of probably given you guys some background, so there may be some overlap, so please forgive me if I do end up repeating a few of the things that they did say. So what is an asset manager? An asset manager is essentially, or an asset management company essentially involves the management of investment portfolios on behalf of your clients. Generally, you would expect, we have a dual purpose as asset managers. One is to generate a positive return for our clients. And generally, we are competing versus the market and versus our peers. And in some cases, you're also targeting an absolute return. So you have to keep in mind both your relative returns, as in suppose if you're investing in equities, your sort of goal as an asset manager or fund manager or as a company will be to beat the market, to generate a better return than the market. Whether you're investing in your fixed income, you'll be trying to give a premium to your clients over and above normal treasury bills and bonds and other fixed income related investments. And the other important aspect of asset management when you're dealing with your portfolios is managing the risk of your clients. Generating a return and balancing the risk that you're taking, balancing the liquidity of your portfolio is very important because each client has a different risk appetite. Each client has a different investment objective. They have a different sort of goals in life that they wish to achieve. As asset managers, we manage money for retail customers, which may be, for example, people who come with their everyday savings of 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 rupees. You may be managing money for H&Ws, which are high net worth individuals, which may run into the hundreds of millions of rupees or even billions of rupees. We manage money for retirement funds. So essentially your provident funds, your pension funds, your gratuity funds. We will manage those portfolios as well. And for corporate liquidity, we will manage those as well. So an asset manager will essentially be looking at different kinds of portfolios, different kinds of individuals, different kinds of companies. And each of those investor classes will have different objectives, different risk appetites, different goals, different time horizons. So as an asset manager, it's very important to be able to understand what your client is saying and to essentially align their portfolio, align their asset allocation, their security selection, the amount of risk that you're building into their portfolio based on what they have told you. So as an asset manager, it is up to you to determine what investments you make on behalf of your client. And the sort of backbone or the sort of fundamental basis for making those as investments is the research and due diligence that you do of the macro economy. So which way is the economy moving? Are interest rates going up or down? What sort of growth are we looking at? What sort of liquidity is available in the economy? Which sectors are growing? And then you essentially try to derive an investment strategy based on what your macro outlook is, and then allocate your clients' portfolios to those sectors, to those companies, to those asset classes to generate the best possible return for them. The sort of important functions within an asset management company, which we normally call the front office. Front office essentially means you're client facing. So you would be dealing with clients from time to time. One is the investments department itself, which would consist of your portfolio managers and your traders. So essentially the people who formulate investment strategy and then execute it. Then research, which is your analysts, and both Raza and Tahir touched upon, what the sort of job involved is with research. I'd say in the last several years, research has become very important on the buy side as well. When I started my career, I recall most portfolio managers that you would see on the buy side and in asset management companies, they would essentially come from the trading desk from the sell side. And at that time, maybe a decade ago, it wasn't necessary that they would be CFAs or they would be research analysts or even have that background with that sort of those technical skill sets. But over the last 10, 15 years, I've seen there's been a significant change so that portfolio managers now predominantly that exist in our industry today, they come out of research. They come with that fundamental background. They have that technical skill set of how to read a financial statement, of how to read the macro economy. So those sort of skill sets have become very important. And obviously the CFA program will equip you quite well with regards to developing those skill sets and your ability to grow in this industry. On the other sort of important functions would be your business development, because the core sort of goal of an asset manager is to bring in money, which is done by sales, and then manage that money, which is done by your investments and research. So these are the most important functions within your company, and they are essentially supported by your operations department, which is involved in the settlement of all the transactions that the portfolio managers do, your finance, which is responsible for the reporting of, whether it is internal reporting, external reporting, client reporting, calculating the returns, and your risk and compliance, which is there to ensure that you are operating within the parameters set by your client and by the SECP, which is the regulator for this industry. Now, what is the scope of the CFA program when it comes to the buy side and asset management? Again, Raza and Tahir touched upon this, but generally you would be looking at front office roles for CFA charter holders. So this would be your investments, for portfolio management, investment strategy, due diligence, research, and risk management and analysis. So this is where your CFA program and affiliated programs that go along with your CFA will come in really handy if you are targeting to make a career on the buy side in asset management and in these specific roles. With regards to what sort of pay scale you can look at, as a research analyst, again, you would be starting out around the 50,000 rupee mark per month. But the scope, again, is significant. I've given ranges here. As you can see, these are indicative ranges. So you can see that, at the top end, your career in this industry can be quite lucrative, where portfolio managers are making, 5 to 700,000 rupees a month. Your traders and dealers, are making close to 200,000. Research analysts, when you become a senior research resource, the good analysts who are heading up teams, who have a lot of experience, can be making 500,000 or in excess of that. And similarly, for your good risk management professionals, they can also be making a very competitive salary. The other thing I'd point out is that these are obviously what I've tried to give you is the sort of fixed compensation. There's also a variable component in this industry, because the way that asset managers earn money is through management fees, which is a fixed component. So for example, if you give us 100 rupees to manage, we will charge 1% a year to manage that money on your behalf. The other variable component is your performance fee, which is essentially if I have a benchmark and I beat that benchmark, then I will take a portion of the outperformance. So that performance fee element is often used by asset management companies to incentivize their employees, to incentivize their teams who generate those excess performance, that alpha over and above the benchmark. So if you're working on the asset management side, you're a good portfolio manager, you're beating the benchmark, you generate a big performance fee for your company, then you can expect that your bonus can also be significant in that sense. So the scope or the upside to making money in this industry is quite significant. Now, with regards to the sort of skills that you would require to be in this industry, yes, the CFA program will give you, and obviously your college education, whether you're doing your bachelor's in commerce and finance, economics, those will obviously give you that sort of technical expertise, but I'd probably stress on the soft skills that you need. The hard skills everybody knows, financial statement analysis, valuations, knowledge of the economy, knowledge of your stock market, your bond markets. But what are the soft skills that you need to succeed in this industry? Because it's a high pressure environment, because you are dealing with people's life savings that they have entrusted you with. So it is a job that you have to take very seriously because people's life savings are under your management. So you have to be very responsible. You have to be do your due diligence, and you have to have a lot of conviction when you're doing your investment. So having a strong temperament, having a thirst for knowledge and curiosity, I'd say.
Reminder for time check, please.
Sure, I'll wrap up soon. And basically being able to sort of ride out the ups and downs of the markets, not panic, buy and sell, so that you do the best job that you can. Now, what does, for example, my day-to-day job look like? Obviously, I'm a chief investment officer, so my day-to-day will look different compared to a portfolio manager or research analyst. But most of the time, I will spend talking to my team, having investment committee meetings, discussing the portfolio, meeting my team, which will include portfolio managers, traders, research analysts, discussing investment strategy, how to execute it, speaking to my own clients, discussing the outlook for the portfolios, what sort of strategy recommendations we have, and basically discuss and conversing with the internal stakeholders, whether it's operations, finance, sales, business development, to ensure that the overall sort of delivery of our product is being done in a smooth manner. And obviously, I think on a normal day, the most important things that we do is we watch the screen. So you have the stock market up, your trading terminals up. So we watch that from 9:30 to 3:30. That's what you're watching to see what the market is doing. So you have to be careful of that. And I can't stress this enough, is that you need to read. And the more you read, the better you'll get at your job. And if anybody asks me what I like about my job, I'd say there are two things. One is that it's a dynamic job. Every day is different. Every year is different. Every month is different, because things are always changing. So you always have to be developing strategies to come up with how to deal with those problems and meet those challenges, beat your peers, beat the market. And the other thing is that you get to make decisions. You get to make decisions on your portfolios involving hundreds of millions and billions of rupees. You're allocating that money, you're trading it, you're buying, you're selling. So that decision making and being in a career which is always changing is probably the most rewarding aspect of this. So yeah, that's it from me. I'll hand off to Kashif. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mustafa. Hi, everyone. Just let me share my screen. All right. Sarah, can you check, please? Can you guys see my screen?
We can see the screen. If you can just make it.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. I am Kashif Shamraiz. I'm the Divisional Head, Treasury Sales at Allied Bank. And in today's discussion, I'll be covering banking as, in financial industry, what sort of, where you can see yourself in banking, where you can hit as professional, what are the opportunities available for you. All right, let me start. Most of you already sort of familiar that what is a bank. Bank is an financial institution which is mainly sort of responsible for collecting deposits from the people and people who have extra money and lending to them who needs it. Banks offer so many other services as well, including wealth management, currency exchange, safe deposits, and there are so many other services which bank provides to nowadays. Most of the banks in most of the countries are very regulated. It is highly regulated industry worldwide, and banks are usually governed and regulated by central banks in different countries. What are the generally types of banks in different countries, and mainly in Pakistan? Every country has sort of a central bank who is mainly responsible for regulating the industry. In Pakistan, we have State Bank of Pakistan.
Sorry to interrupt you, Kashif. If you can click on the slideshow, because participants are unable to read the slides clearly.
Just hold on. Right. Is it okay now?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, well, then there are the most prominent players in banking are the commercial banks, of course. In Pakistan, there are around 32 commercial banks, which includes some foreign banks like Standard Chartered Bank, ICBC, Bank of China, and Citibank. There are some 4 or 5 Islamic banks. Mizan Bank is the largest Islamic bank we have. And the other commercial banks are like HBL, UBL, National Bank, MCB, Allied Bank. These are the commercial banks. In Pakistan banking industry, I think commercial banks are the banks who are providing almost everything which other banks, other financial institutions are offering. They are offering commercial banking, retail banking, investment banking. These are the all solutions which are being provided by the commercial banks. And there are some other sort of types of banks, like DFIs. Pakistan have almost 10, 12 DFIs like Pak Kuwait Investment Company, then Pak Oman Investment Companies, then Pak Iran Investment Companies, then Saudi Pak Investment Company. These are the specialized sort of DFIs which were built or established by the governments of Pakistan and governments of these respective countries. We do have some specialized financial institutions like Industrial Development Bank, Agriculture, then the Zari Taraqqiyati Bank. Then we have SME Bank, but most of these institutions have been sort of very inactive since last couple of decades. We do have some investment banks, but they are very small in size and very sort of, we can say, sort of very inefficient or inactive. Like we have Trust Investment Bank, IGI Investment Bank, Ascots is one of the examples. And then we have Atlas, then we have Oryx Investment Bank, InvestCap. These are some banks, but they are very small in size. The new players coming into this industry are the microfinance banks. These are the new institutions. Khushali Bank was the first microfinance bank, and then we have NRSP, Finca, Apna Microfinance, Akhuwat. Now the new players in this industries are telcos. They are growing very fast. They are, I mean, catching up in a lot of things, and they are giving sort of very hard time to the banks. And I mean, with the introduction of new sort of channels, these can, these can grow very fast. We do have like Mobilink microfinance, then we have Ufone microfinance, then we have Telenor microfinance banks. These are the new entrants in this industry. What are the main sort of departments in a typical bank? I am mainly covering the commercial banks because in Pakistan, commercial banks almost sort of have all sort of departments. The major sort of the front offices, which are the client-facing departments which deal with the clients, and then we have the support functions in the bank. The biggest department are the group in any commercial bank is the commercial banking, which includes the branch banking, which accepts deposits mainly. That is the main sort of thing, and it is supported by the operations department in the back office. Then we have the retail banking group in commercial banks, which mainly offer the credit cards and other sort of retail products. Then there's the corporate banking department, then investment banking department. Corporate banking and investment banking departments are the mainly sort of the groups, are the departments where you can see yourself. These are the departments which are a bit which needs a bit technical skills. And then we have sort of special asset management group, which deals with the special sort of assets. The loans which have gone bad are going to be bad. Then we do have treasury groups. Every bank has a treasury, but treasury is the department where we have very sort of smaller teams with like 10, 15 people. Then there's capital markets. This is the department which is usually works under treasury department, are the CIBG and corporate and investment group, which deals with investments equity investments for the bank. Back office departments includes operations. Then we have risk management. Risk management is another area where CFA candidates or CFA charter holders can join in. This is area where you can add value for the bank. Then there is audit and risk review department, which is mainly specialized for sort of chartered accountancy or accountants. ACCAs and chartered accountants can really sort of look for this. Then we have finance, of course, for financial reporting and all sort of internal and external reporting. Finance department is another department where chartered accountants and ACCAs can really sort of look for. Every bank now, compliance has been sort of very, very, very critical since last couple of decades. With the introduction of new regulations, compliance has been very critical. You can see now, with introduction of FATF and other restrictions, compliance has been very critical for the banks nowadays. Then there's IT, information technology, of course, with the rapid change in things. IT has been very, very sort of prominent now. Then human resources and general services, which handles the sort of overall branch management and other things. Then we have corporate finance. All right, these are the main departments which are sort of available in the bank. These are the employment opportunities for CFA candidates and charter holders in any commercial bank typically. As I mentioned earlier, corporate banking, investment banking, capital market, and risk management are the main areas where you can join in. Treasury group is another group where you can sort of really try for. Treasury is with limited people, so it's a bit hard to join in treasuries. But of course, there's the other departments have bigger teams, so there are chances. You have good chances to get into this. What are the important skills you need to work in a bank? It really depends. I mean, some of the positions like relationship manager in corporate banking are sort of in corporate finance, even in project finance. You need a little bit of technical skills, but the most important skills here are your interpersonal skills and soft skills. If you're working in corporate banking, the most important skill you need is the business development skill, because you need to get the deals for the bank. Every bank is after the clients, and you have to have a very sort of sustained and proactive relationship with your clients to get these deals for your bank. Then we have all right. The other important skill for any sort of corporate banking professional is the dispute resolution, because you need to have a very sort of excellent dispute resolution skills. Then on the technical side, of course, you need to have a good understanding of products your bank is offering. You should be able to do the financial statements analysis. You should have a very good understanding of sort of Excel and financial modeling. I mean, the one unique thing which you need to be in the banking is the good understanding of state bank regulations, which are implemented and changed time to time. All right, being in the treasury, it's a bit different. I mean, treasury is mainly sort of, there are two departments in any treasury of the bank. One is the interbank and other is the sales side. If you are
sorry to interrupt, Kashif, but my job here is to give you
all right, I'm just wrapping up. If you're working in like interbank, you need to have sort of technical skills more, because you deal with the books of the banks, and you sort of the key thing which is required from you is sort of having the good and strong trading and negotiation skills, because you sort of deal with other banks. And if you are like in sales department, you should have a good sort of interpersonal skills. You should be able to handle clients and make the deals. All right. What is the expected pay scale in a bank? Banks are sort of are a bit slow in sort of, I mean, the starting salary should range from 60,000, but the growth is a bit slower as compared to AMCs or brokerage industries. Banks usually go slow, typically 8 to 10% increment every year, and then it goes on with a sort of very, very slow pace. Skills are, of course, transferable locally and globally. But I mean, it is also interchangeable. Like if you're working in corporate banking, you can move into investment banking or any risk management sort of thing. Typical working hours, like 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's not, I mean, the pressure as compared to other industries is very low. Banks have, I mean, it's a bit low pressure job as compared to especially AMCs and brokerage houses. Little bit traveling is expected, and I mean it depends where you're working. If you're working in corporate banking, most of your clients would be from the same city. You would be going to client meeting, but within the same city. If you're working in investment banking, you may be expected to travel to other cities if your deal or the project you are working in is in other cities. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kashif, for that. Sarvat, I think obviously just to make it smooth, I think I should moderate some of the questions that we've already been put up.
Thank you. Yeah.
And obviously, obviously we've had a paucity of time. We tried to get as many careers as possible to the audience today. Obviously, you could spend a whole day talking about each particular career, but thanks to all our speakers to get you a flavor of some of the careers that are available. It's not an exhaustive list. I mean, for instance, we could have had somebody from insurance or for investment banking. So maybe Sarvat, maybe a follow-up session if there is enough interest. But first question, and maybe Florence and Sarvat, maybe I can direct this one to you. And the question has come in that if somebody has a very light background in finance or knowledge, can they sit for the CFA exam? Do you think it's recommended, or do you think that maybe they will need to brush up on their finance skills before sitting for the exam? So either of you could take it.
Florence, would you like to take a go at it?
Yeah, sure. We always actually, from my experience, many of the CFA candidates, they are not from the finance school. We position is a self-learn program. So even you don't have any finance background, like you're from engineering or social science, you can still pick up the CFA exam by really working hard on studying the curriculum. That's what my experiences told me. So what, do you have anything to add on?
Right. Thanks, Florence. The second question, and maybe I could direct this to Mustafa, because Mustafa, you did talk about a lot of the need for soft skills. I mean, you obviously talked about technical skills, but you also talked about soft skills. So anyway, look, for somebody with maybe experience that is not exactly pertinent to an asset manager or a brokerage firm. I mean, you've worked in the finance industry, you've had an accounting background. Do you think they will be able to sort of move into asset management easily, or will they need to work on certain skills before they can consider a move into asset management? And Tahir, of course, you can also step in and answer if you like, but maybe Mustafa can start off with.
Sure. Thanks, Raza. So I think with regards to anybody who's in the finance function right now, who's perhaps involved in sort of accounting or reviewing financials, preparing them, I think that gives them a good base to start off and perhaps move into the asset management industry. But I think what I would stress is that for anybody who is looking to be in brokerage, be in asset management, be on the buy side, sell side, get into banking, corporate banking, investment banking, whatever you're looking to get into, whether it is on the portfolio management side, whether it is on the research side, whether it is on the sales side, I would encourage all of you to basically look into starting off in research because you develop a lot of the skill sets, the ability to look at companies critically, the financial statements, the valuations, how to read a company, how to sort of depict that trend. You speak to a lot of people, so you pick up a lot of soft skills about how to talk to people, how to get information. And you read a lot, so you absorb a lot of information there as well. And it gives you a very solid base for whatever you want to do, whether you want to stay in sell side, whether you want to go to buy side, you want to be a fund manager, you want to be the head of sales, you want to be the head of research, whatever you want to do. I would recommend that anybody interested in this field, start off in research, build your skill set there, and it'll open up a lot of options for you down the line in your career.
Perfect. Thanks, Mustafa. Kashif, if I may direct a question to you, and it's a fairly easy one, but somebody's asking if you can talk a little bit about the difference between equity investments and fixed income investments. And obviously, being in a bank, I imagine fixed income is obviously more important to you guys, but maybe a little bit of color on these two types of investments somebody's asked.
I mean, in Pakistan, typically we do have sort of fixed income is predominantly is government securities. which includes treasury bills and PIBs. We do have like fixed rate PIBs and floating rate PIBs. These are the typical fixed income securities which banks are dealing nowadays. There are some corporate TFCs as well. On the equity side, I mean, if I compare the risk and reward of these sort of both the sides, equity is sort of more, a bit risky side of the portfolio, which are usually taken by it is predominantly is dealt by the brokerage side of the industry. In banks, banks usually, you can say a good 90-95% of portfolio of the banks is in fixed income securities, and they have very small portion in the equity investments.
Perfect. Tahir, I'm going to direct my next question to you, and this is something that you talked about in your on your slides, that the need to maybe come to Karachi. So there are a lot of questions from people that if you can maybe give a little bit of details, because you've obviously from Lahore, but you've worked in Karachi. If you can just give a little bit of detail on that, and then people are asking, are there opportunities available in Lahore, to work on the brokerage or asset management side? So if you can just give some color there. Tahir, you're on mute.
Sorry. Okay, thank you, Raza. As I have mentioned in my presentation, and I shared my experience. I am actually from Lahore, and I worked in Karachi for good 5-6 years. Now I am working again in Lahore, and I know a couple of my friends who are working in Islamabad, in Lahore. But trust me, as I have mentioned, the pace of learning, the exposure, the competitive edge that you got in Karachi, that is matchless. You just cannot have that kind of exposure, that kind of learning in Lahore or in Islamabad. So I encourage all of you to start your career from Karachi, and opportunities are always there in the market. You just need to hit at the right place. As I have mentioned earlier in my presentation, try to get hands on economic numbers, on your Excel skills, and try to cover one or two sectors before hitting the market. Trust me, you will get a job quite easily.
Thanks, Tahir. Just like to, at my end, there are a lot of questions on prep providers and when is the right time. All I can tell you is that, you can sit for the CFA Level 1 exam when in your last year of your undergraduate education. And in terms of prep providers, look, Mustafa, spent a good chunk of time talking about, how, important it is to read, right? I would encourage all of you to just have a look at the curriculum. Don't jump to prep providers straight away. If you're in a good finance program at university, and you are already privileged, and you have a very strong background to sit for level 1. If you ask me, speaking from personal experience, if you're in a good program, you're already halfway through. So just have confidence on yourself, and just use this as something that can add to your career and help with your career prospects. That's just something that I would just like to take the opportunity to say.
And just to add on, Raza, sorry. I would encourage all of you to take CFA level 1, level 2, level 3 exams while being on the job. So it's a myth that you have to be a full-time student in order to complete your CFA. It will help you if you will be doing a relevant job while pursuing CFA. It will really help you in passing exam as well.
Now,
if you would like to take over.
Yeah, so thank you all for your time. and on a very, very busy day. Florence, thank you for joining us from Hong Kong. And I'd like to thank Mohammed Tahir Saeed, Raza Jafri, Mustafa Pasha, and Kashif Shamraiz for taking time out and answering all the questions. And we hope that we can conduct more of these sessions to answer a lot more questions that you have, all of you have. So the recording will be available on our website. And I want to thank all the students, and I want to thank all the panelists for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
you.